What's going on, CBN? Hey, I just wanted to do a quick video. I wanted to show you something new that we created for the CRM and the automations group, and I wanted to share it with everybody, not just automations, because I think it's value added. I think it's something that if you knew that it existed, you would definitely want to get on board with it. And the reason why we created this is because a lot of people, and the people in the automations course already know, uh, pretty much the foundation of how to bring on, hire, um, do interviews and all that stuff for overseas virtual assistants, right? But it seems like it's something that's kind of a lot of people are interested in right now. People are trying to start their, grow their business and scale their business. And in order to do that, you need to be able to delegate some of the tasks that are everyday tasks. And the way to do that is to either have it done by people within your staff or to get a virtual assistant. And uh, I was going through that same process right now. I One of my virtual assistants hasn't been performing to the best of their ability, which normally they have been, but it's a trend that I don't have time to really kind of deal with. So I may be letting them go. So I was like, okay, let me start looking into bringing on more virtual assistants. And at the same time, I'm also looking into getting virtual assistants that are trained to be virtual assistants for cleaning business owners. A lot of the virtual assistants that are out there now, most of them, a majority of them, do not have experience with dealing with or being virtual assistants for cleaning business owners. So it's a kind of different dynamic. So we're talking, or I'm thinking about starting something to help train them to be virtual assistants. But that's a little bit further on down the road. But what I want to talk about is this right now. The people that are in the group that definitely want a virtual assistant don't know how to go about doing it, right? So we figured out a way to make this process a whole lot easier, because a lot of times when you're doing it, you have to make the post. You have to post it to whatever website you're going to post it to get your virtual assistants. Then you have to go through all the applications, figure out who's the best fit. Now you have to send them an email or make contact with them and let them know, hey, we would like to have an interview with you. You have to schedule the interview. Once you schedule the interview, after going through the probably 50 to 100 applications, now you got to remember, all right, now I have to send them an email letting them know, hey, we would like to move further in the onboarding process or the hiring process, or whatever you want to call it, right? So it's a lot of stuff that goes into it. And then on top of that, once you hire whoever you're going to hire, you got to onboard them, right? So how do you make that process faster? How do you make it more efficient, more effective, right? All right, so there's automations. All right, and I'm going to show you something that I created or just yesterday or the day before yesterday, something like that, because I was going through it and I was doing my post and all this other stuff. And I realized, why don't I just make a form or application for them, right? I'm going to show you what I created the other day that made this process a whole lot easier and smoother for me. So let's see if I can make myself a little smaller so I don't overtake the screen. Okay, so this is this form right here. This is the virtual assistant application form. And what I do is I send this, of course, I still make a post, right? I make the post and I post it where I'm going to post it. And I put a link to this form in that post, right? So when they go through, this is basically an application. They fill it out, they fill out all the information, and I'm not going to show you everything, but they fill out this form. And if you're familiar with how the CRM works, all the forms that you create and somebody actually fills that form out, you get a notification. You get a notification that the form has been completed. And let's see if I can show you an example of that. Let's see, let's go here. You can see right here, these are, these are actually appointments. These are people that have already scheduled. But down here, you can see application from, application from, application from. These are people that have actually filled out the application, right? Filled out the form. So now this goes right into my CRM. After it goes into my CRM, now I can just go and check and see, okay, well, let me see who has filled out the form. These are all the people that have filled out the form, right? All the people that have filled out the forms to be a virtual assistant, right? So the next thing is, okay, now what happens after this? I go through each one of these people that filled out an application, filled out a form. I go through each one of them. After I go through them, we've created workflows, right? So a workflow is pretty much an automation that when something happens, something else happens, and it's sort of like a domino effect. Something else happens after that. A lot of this stuff I was doing, myself. So right now, the way that it's set up is once they complete this form, I go through, I look at their application, and I say, well, for instance, let me show you. I'll show you real quick. I'm going to give you a basic. And this is an example. This is the workflows that we created. And it's a set of 6 actual workflows that takes the virtual assistant process from the beginning stages all the way to you're hired and now you go into onboarding them, right? So these are all the workflows that we created for that. And I'll click through one of them just to kind of show you how it started, but I'm not going to show all the rest of them. But like I said, this whole process, this whole workflow and all the forms and stuff like that will be uploaded to the automations course members, and it'll probably be somewhere around the boot camp time. I want to make sure I go through here and make sure that I get rid of all the glitches that may be in there. So if you look at this, you have a certain trigger, you have all things that happen, tags, all this is a process. And right now you can see there's 39 people that are actually in the pipeline, in the workflow, waiting to move on to the next stage in the onboarding process or the hiring process. This is done automatically. Once this happens, once they do the form, I put them on a short list, which takes them to another workflow that sends them an email letting them know, hey, we want to interview you for the position, whatever position it may be. They'll click on a link that's in that email. That link will take them to my appointment, my calendar. And let's see, do I have my calendar up here? This is an example of my calendar. It'll take them right to my calendar where they will go ahead and they will actually schedule an interview. When they schedule an interview with me, what'll happen is I'll get a notification, like for instance, right here. I have an appointment confirmation that goes right to my email. It goes to my cell phone, letting me know there's an appointment. Another place that it goes is here. It goes to my calendar. And I'm going to bring this over so you can see it. See if I can bring it over. Oh, it goes to my calendar. So you can look right here on Monday. I have these things scheduled, and these are interviews that are already scheduled. So this is automatic through the workflow. All this stuff happens automatically. All I have to do is either, I'll do one thing. I'll either change, hold on just a second. Let me make sure I get back to the screen. Okay, so all I have to do is either add a tag, or they open an email, or something else triggers something else to happen. So it continuously moves through that workflow, and this is instantaneously, right? So it's not something where I have to keep going back and forth doing responding to emails or answering text messages or calling them or anything like that. This happens automatically just by one thing happening, then another thing happens, then another thing happens. So moving through that workflow, after that happens, let's see. This is how it actually looks in the actual pipeline. So we created a pipeline, basically a process steps that are in the hiring process. So the first part of the step is new application is received. So that means when that person fills out that form, right, their name pops up here, right? It pops up in the CRM, but it also pops up in the pipeline. So I'll know at any given time where anybody is in any stage of the process, right? So after I go through here and I look at their applications, I'll put in a tag says shortlisted or that I want to interview them. It's going to move from here to here, right? So it says send interview. So what that does is it sends them an email, like I said before, sends them an email with a link for them to schedule their interview. Once they schedule their interview, right? Once the interview is scheduled, then it's going to slide them over to the next stage in the hiring process. Then it goes on to interview completed. If by chance I'm going through their application and they're not somebody that fits what we're looking for, then it'll put them in another stage of the hiring process. it doesn't get rid of them. It just keeps them because I have it set up that way, because I may want to go back later on and kind of see if maybe they can work somewhere else. Maybe I can help them kind of tone their skills and kind of give them, not really give them, but offer their services to somebody else that is looking for a virtual assistant, because they'll be trained in how to be a virtual assistant for the cleaning business industry. And over here, if you look at this list right here, it says not a fit or rejected. So these are the people, like I said, they didn't get the interview. They didn't pass the visual test or the ear test or the eye test, whatever it may be. So now they're in this list right here. And all this stuff happens automatically because we created an automation that does that, right? So I'm saying all this to say that this actually has now, this process that probably takes for each applicant I go through, probably takes no more than a minute for me to go through this whole process, each person, right? Now I have about 50, so it's going to take a little bit longer than that. But what I'm saying is it saves me a lot more time. And it takes a lot of pressure off your back, off having to remember, oh, I need to do this for this person. I need to do that for this person. There are things set up in the workflow that because it's in there, it gives you notifications of the next thing that needs to be done in order for that person to move along in the hiring process. So this is a game changer. I love it. It's helped me out a lot. I'm using it right now as we speak. Like I said, I'm onboarding new virtual assistants for myself. So I'm actually using this. This is not something we just created and don't use. I'm literally using it right now as we speak. And it's working better than I even anticipated it working. So like I said, if you're not in automations, you need to get in the automations group. There's so much information that's in there. It'll take your business to the next level. If you're ready to level up, you're ready to grow, you're ready to scale, you need to get in the automations course. Go to Clean Biz University, go to the automations course, click on it, and definitely get in there. And all this stuff can be uploaded to your CRM. For those of you that are in automations, be ready around possibly the boot camp. I should have everything fine-tuned so that you can have this, and I'll have a video on actually how to do it. All right, so with that being said, I didn't want this video to be too long. So you guys have a wonderful day, and hopefully we'll see you in the automations group. If not, we'll catch you in the CBN group. You guys have a great day.